You've heard the promise, right? Work a few extra hours a week and you can finally get ahead. Pay off some debt, maybe save for a real vacation, build that emergency fund. It sounds so simple. But what if that extra grind is actually the very thing keeping you stuck? Let's break down the hidden math behind the whole side hustle dream.
So, to really get what's going on with the side hustle economy, let's look at a real-world story. This is Kevin. About 6 months ago, he started driving for Uber. Trying to get ahead of inflation, knock down some credit card debt. And his plan, well, it seemed like a total no-brainer.
The math looked super simple and honestly pretty exciting. He figured, okay, 15 hours a week at about $20 an hour. That's an extra $1,200 a month. On paper, it looked like the perfect fix, a straight line to getting ahead. And you know what? For a while, it really felt like a huge win. After 6 months of grinding it out on nights and weekends, he looked at his gross income and saw this number, over $6,000. He felt so productive, like he was finally doing what it takes. But that's not the whole picture.
Then came the reality check. Kevin actually did the math on his car costs. He'd driven about 4,200 miles just for work. So when you use the standard IRS mileage rate, which covers gas, insurance, wear and tear, all that stuff, he realized those miles took a massive, invisible chunk out of his earnings. We're talking $2,800.
So, after you subtract those very real costs, this was his actual take-home pay for half a year of work. Suddenly, that $6,200 looks completely different, doesn't it? But the most shocking number was still to come.
And here it is. This is the number that changes everything. When Kevin divided his actual profit by the 360 hours he'd put in, his true hourly wage was just $9.44. He was working a second job for less than minimum wage in many places. Now, Kevin's story isn't some rare exception. It's basically the norm. It's a phenomenon I call the side hustle squeeze, where the promise of extra cash actually traps people into working more while building less long-term wealth.
And this is everywhere. Just look at the numbers. Around 39% of American adults have a side hustle. They're all chasing, on average, an extra $810 a month. But here's the kicker. That number is almost always gross income, not the money that actually lands in your bank account.
And this is where it gets crazy. Check out the massive gap. For a lot of these gig economy jobs, the advertised pay looks fantastic, right? $20, $25 an hour. But once you factor in all the costs, your car, the extra taxes, the unpaid time between jobs, the actual median wage is often less than half of what they promised. But you know what? The financial costs we've been talking about, they're only half the story. The real damage from the side hustle squeeze comes from the invisible costs. The ones that never show up on a spreadsheet, but end up being way more expensive in the long run. First up, there's opportunity cost. Every single hour you spend on a low-return task like driving is an hour you can't spend developing a high-value skill. Just think about it. What if you spent those 15 hours a week learning to code, or getting a certification, or becoming a better negotiator? That could permanently boost your main salary by thousands a year, a much better return on your time.
Next is the hit your health takes. Working a full-time job and then a side hustle often means you're just not sleeping enough. And that chronic sleep deprivation, it weakens your immune system and absolutely tanks your productivity at your main job. The sick days you end up taking, the burnout, those are real costs.
And finally, there's the cognitive cost, or what scientists call decision fatigue. Juggling a side hustle means making tons of extra little decisions every day, which just drains your mental battery. That's precious energy that could have been used for big picture thinking about your career or solving complex problems that really move the needle.
So this brings us to a really crucial distinction. It's what separates the side hustles that drain you from the ones that can actually build you up. And it's all about the difference between low leverage and high leverage work. Okay, so low leverage work is simple. You're trading your time directly for money. Your income is totally capped by the number of hours you can physically work. But high leverage work, that's about building an asset. It could be anything: a digital course, a niche website, a cool product, even a powerful personal brand. It's something that can make money for you even when you're not actively working on it. It can scale. And this is the absolute core of the squeeze trap. The constant grind of that low-leverage work leaves you so physically and mentally exhausted that you never have the energy to even think about the high-leverage opportunities, the ones that could actually change your financial future. You're too busy working in your life to ever work on your life. So how do you get out of this trap?
Well, it starts with taking a really honest look at your own work. Here's a practical 4-step audit you can use to figure out where you really stand.
Okay, here we go. Step 1. Calculate your true hourly rate. No pretending. What are you actually making per hour? Step 2. Audit the invisible costs. How is this really affecting your health, your relationships, and your main career? Third, apply the replacement test. Could this time be spent better somewhere else, like learning a new skill? And finally, number 4, is there an escape velocity? Do you have a real plan to turn this into something bigger, or is it just a second job forever?
Ultimately, this whole thing is about a huge shift in perspective. Our culture loves to celebrate the grind, right? But being busy is not the same thing as being productive. The real question isn't how many hours you're putting in. It's about what you are actually building with those hours. What asset are you creating?
And this is the question I really want to leave you with. Take a hard, honest look at the extra work you're doing. Is it truly a stepping stone, moving you forward, building new skills, creating real assets? Or is it just a financial treadmill, one that has you running faster and faster just to stay in the exact same place? Because the answer to that question could change everything.